An unknown Czech author once penned great words of wisdom. A fine beer may be judged with only one sip, but it's better to be thoroughly sure. If you are one of the many Americans that contributed to the consumption of the 24,076,864 barrels of craft beer in 2015, according to the Brewers Association, then you understand this quote. Craft beer has greatly changed the way Americans enjoy the most consumed alcoholic beverage, and over the next few minutes I plan to inform you of what beer is and a brief history of craft beer in the U.S. Then I'll move on to the reasons craft beer has made a comeback in the last 30 plus years, and then to the hobby of home brewing. A recent poll conducted by Gallup, an American research company, concluded that 41% of legal age adults that consume some type of alcoholic beverage preferred beer. The components that make up beer are simple and have been around for thousands of years. Beer is simply an alcoholic beverage that can be made of any grain, but according to Brew Organic, it is most commonly made with barley. And in addition to the type of grain used, yeast is added to initiate the fermentation process. Water, which makes up over 90% of beer, according to Brew Organic, is also key. A good beer needs good water. Lastly, hops are added to the mix, a cousin of cannabis that add bitterness and helps preserve the beer, according to Brew Organic. So now we have a better understanding of what beer is. Let's go over a brief history of craft beer in the U.S. In 1873, the U.S. had 4,131 breweries, according to the Brewers Association. Throughout the early 20th century, the beer industry had major decline and reached an all-time low when Prohibition came into effect. After the Prohibition ended, the industry never quite fully recovered, and only major macro breweries survived. In 1978, only 89 breweries remained, according to the Brewers Association. The definition of a craft brewery is any small, independently owned brewery that adheres to the traditional brewing practices and ingredients. Craft brewers are distinct from larger, regional, and national brewers, which often use non-traditional ingredients and brew on a much larger scale, defined by Tom Isatelli, found on Wine Economics. So why does the craft beer section in the grocery store have so many options? The craft beer industry has made a long climb from the end of the Prohibition to today. According to Wine Economics, the Anchor Steam Brewing Company was bought in 1965 by Fritz Maytag. If this brewery would have closed, it would have been the last craft brewery in the U.S. Fritz Maytag started the trend of craft breweries and is the baseline for today. Craft beer also owes its thanks to a man by the name of Jim Koch, creator of the Boston Beer Company. Without Jim Koch, the industry would not be where it is today. According to Wine Economics, Koch was different than other craft startups by having another brewery make its beer and then selling it. This business model allowed Boston Beer Company to be the #1 best-selling craft brewery in the U.S. So why did Americans opt for the change in the quality and taste of beer? Well, I believe it is the shift in the belief that beer is for college kids and blue-collar workers alone. Since beer is the most consumed alcoholic beverage in the U.S., as stated before, it is being used differently. Instead of being just a social drink, it is now entered into the food industry. Brewers are brewing beer to be paired with food. Think craft beers in the grocery section are too expensive to drink on a regular basis? Look no further than your local home brewer supply store for all your ingredients needed to start up your own operation. If you want to brew your own beer, there are many price point options out there. On the home brewing website, I found a beginner's kit for $69. Add the recipe for $51, and that's $121 for 5 gallons of beer. The recipe I bought was Sierra Nevada Original Ale. A 6-pack of this craft beer is around $9. At $51 for 5 gallons, it now costs around $4.50 to brew your own 6-pack of beer. Is homebrewing legal? Yes, homebrewing is legal, according to the Brewers Association. As of 2013, it is legal in all 50 states, with Mississippi and Alabama being the last states to legalize it. According to the National Conference of State Legislature, it is legal for a household where 2 adults preside to brew 200 gallons per calendar year and 100 gallons where 1 adult presides. The world of craft beer is a vast and interesting topic, and I could not cover every aspect, but here's what I did cover. Today I covered the history of craft beer in America, the resurgence of popularity of quality beers, and my belief as to why they made a comeback, and finally home brewing and the advantages to making your own beer. Today I will leave you with a quote by an unknown author. In wine there is wisdom, in beer there is freedom, and in water there is bacteria. Thank you for your time today.